Call the meeting to order.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Action on the minutes.
Motion to accept.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Vote. Any adjustments to the agenda?
I have nothing, sir.
Public comment. Lois? Beat you to it.
Thank you for doing the side of the road where I am, because I really can't see coming out in my driveway. Or neither can anybody see me coming out, so it's done. So they just kept that. But there is another place, and this one came from that. When you come up Schoolhouse Road on your left, there are a lot of, it's the swamps, what do we got in? Cat and nine tails, I guess. And you can't see the traffic coming from Lewiston, or Mechanic Falls. And, are you going to cut the sides of the road? You know how the guy rides around and cuts the sides of the road?
Yeah, the tractor right now is getting some maintenance, they have to go in for service, and when it comes back up, Jim said he's planning on getting to it.
Okay, they takes care of them. This one is just me being nosy. Where are the trucks coming out from that Hancock place? Where are they gonna come out on 26? Lars Road or right off the front of the building?
I believe they're coming around 126, on 26, aren't they, Jim?
Well, yeah, but how are they gonna get to 26? Are they
So the truck traffic will be coming out Lars Drive,
Okay,
and then employee traffic will be using the main entrance off 26, just south of Lars Drive.
well, it seemed like a very short driveway, to be pulling any size truck out of them, yeah, so Lars is good. Well, I guess it is. And I guess that's it. I gotta remind us.
Greg Weymouth, and I wanna know what the town gets for a fire truck, personnel and water to water the trees at Hannaford on a Sunday afternoon.
I think we have fire. So,
I have to get back to you on that, because I don't have any idea.
I'm pretty sure they call, what's the stuff? Mulch, thank you, fire.
We'll find out.
Do you know anything about those?
So was that last Sunday? Is that what you're talking about, when the fire truck was over there last Sunday?
It was either last Sunday or the Sunday before.
There was a small mulch fire over there.
Mulch fire?
Yeah,
Alright.
so and there was one engine and two guys on it that were on duty.
Answer that, thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Conrad?
Conrad, north end of town, good job on the intersection markers. Let's try to do that an annual thing. A lot of people don't have issues, especially coming off Minnetonka. Street light at Cold Water Brook Road and Potter Road intersection. You guys aware that's not working?
Thought it was working. Okay, I guess not.
So let's try to maybe get a bright luminous light up there, because obviously you guys know that severe issues that have been happening up north in the town, and we all know where it's coming from.
So it's not working at all, or?
No, it's not lit up, right? Last time I knew it wasn't lit up, right? Has it been lit up lately?
I haven't gotten any complaints.
Okay, all right, so is it working?
To my knowledge, it's working, yeah, I haven't been told anything different.
All right, okay. The Swamp Road, the campers on the Swamp Road, what's up with that, guys? Is that somebody just camping there, or is it homeowners at all, or where's the human feces going?
So that's something that code enforcement has been keeping an eye on and actively doing violation notices and so forth on. It's
Something
being dealt with.
something that we can kick them out of there?
It's not that, it doesn't happen that fast.
Well, I know it don't, but I mean, because it just seems like, we're just having issues with all these squatters coming out.
Yeah, code enforcement is aware and actively working on it.
And the other thing is too, I noticed Auburn's doing it quite a bit now, putting up LED radar speed limit signs. Something that you guys might be thinking of doing in the school zones?
I don't think that's been discussed. I don't know if you had thoughts on that.
They have the lights that are there, that are working. What are you thinking extra, Robert?
I'm just thinking, the speed limit signs, the speed limit indicator, like Auburn has.
Yeah.
I know that can run down on that quite a bit now. I mean, I know we've never had an issue, but,
Yeah.
I know a lot of facilities now are coming up with that now, so just to be able to help. And the other last thing I got is, I know you guys mentioned the traffic light intersection at Oxford and Main. And I know you guys said that we didn't request that. Who's gonna maintain it? Is it gonna come out of our taxpayers' money, or who's gonna maintain that?
So the town will be responsible paying for electricity. The state will be responsible for installing it and maintaining the fixture, fixture in the box and those things. Yeah. Which is the same as at the intersection of, right out here.
Now, is there gonna be a severe issue in the wintertime as well too, 18 wheelers coming up that road? I mean, obviously, DOT is gonna have to salt, sand that area quite a bit now. I mean, you got that slight incline.
I'd like to think that, DOT thought of that when they did the design and so forth.
That's all I got, guys. Oh, I know, Danny, you were talking about the tree, everybody was asking. I know you guys been busy, so.
Sorry, with the tree out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spoke to Jim about that earlier, because I was asking about that, so it's gonna be hopefully getting taken care of, within the next couple of weeks. He had to schedule, it was cheaper to schedule a crew to do it than to rent the truck,
Yeah.
so.
No worries, guys. Appreciate it, thank you.
Anybody else, public comment? Seeing none. Business items. Review approve Oxford Casino Hotel BB Development LLC liquor license renewal.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? So moved. Thank you, gentlemen. It's 14 years now.
And 15.
5-2, review approve Oxbow Brewing Company LLC liquor license renewal.
So move.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor? Vote. 5-3, TLEA discussion. Mr. Hughes
Yes.
is here to give us a brief.
I'll try and be quick. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
So my name is Jim Hughes. Just a quick update. I came to I called Adam Garland and asked that, told him that I wanted to endeavor to open the communication lines between the town of Oxford and the TLEA especially as it relates to the Thompson Lake Dam. So had a meeting with Adam last spring, and it was a good meeting. We went over a lot of concerns, shared a lot of things. Adam suggested that perhaps the TLA would be wise to come to the select board, explain who we are and what we do. He also agreed to provide us with routine updates as to the status of the dam. He did that last year. I communicated that at the TLEA annual meeting last year. Graciously gave me another update just recently, and I communicated that to the TLEA meeting last Saturday. Well received. Lots of activity, lots of good things going on. In addition, last December, the TLEA came in front of the select board, and Paul Kane, our president, did a presentation as to who we are, what we do. And I think that was very well received with a lot of members of the select board who were kind of surprised at how many things the TLEA is involved in, a lot of good things, and how things may dovetail with some of the things that the town of Oxford is doing as well, particularly as it applies to perhaps grants and funding for things like dam improvement. In addition, we started to work on an agreement to reestablish the Thompson Lake, a proposal, I should say, to reestablish the Thompson Lake Dam. It just so happens that Hal Ferguson is here with me, and he and I are still listed on the Otisville Town website as members of the Thompson Lake Dam Committee, and I think that was probably, I don't know how many years ago, but nevertheless. The proposal, what we proposed was that the towns, we would form a committee. It would consist of 4 towns, Casco, Poland, Otisfield, and Oxford. And the 4 towns would get together and work to establish a well-laid-out budget for what it takes to operate that dam, operational costs, maintenance costs, improvement costs. And then the towns would put that in front of each of the individual towns for approval in the 2027 timeframe. And then, if that were to happen, the towns would then sign up for that amount of money, whatever that cost is, their fair share, based on, we proposed that it be shoreline mileage, so it's, the smallest is Casco, then there's Poland, then there's Otisfield, then there's Oxford. And we would then, the committee would then do that every year, but the town of Oxford would then agree that management of the dam on a day-to-day basis would transition to the Thompson Lake Dam Committee, so that the dam committee would have a say in how the budget money is funded and is spent. That's the proposal.
Anything else?
Nope. Have one.
Thought anybody have any questions? Probably not this time, but I'm not opposed to having, you could start your dam committee. Again, you don't need our approval to do that. And getting all the towns to participate is certainly a good idea. The funding issue, and again, I can only speak for myself, I can't speak for the whole board. If everybody's got skin in the game, money coming in, then some decision-making probably could be shared, but if we're putting in the bulk of the money, we're gonna be making decisions.
Well, it would be modeled after the Belgrade Lakes Agreement, and I had shared that agreement with Phil Richardson and Scott Hunter. And that agreement, we originally set this up, I tried to do that as a signatory agreement, but when I went to the towns and said that, the response was, look, until we understand what the costs are, we're not signing up for anything. We need to understand what the costs are. So that's why it makes sense to put together the budget and put together and understand what it takes to operate that dam. You guys, the town of Oxford spends a lot of time. The DPW has to go down there, measure water levels, adjust gates, clean debris. There's a lot of time and energy spent just on a day-to-day basis doing the operational work to manage that dam. Never mind the maintenance and then the capital improvements. So the towns are saying, tell us what that is. We'd be willing to sign up for that cost, our portion of that cost, as long as we have a say in how the money is managed and spent. And in the case of the Belgrade Agreement, it started that way, and then it became a signed agreement where each town signed up and said, yes, we agree. We will contribute our fair share, but we will also be the group that manages how the money is spent and how the projects are prioritized and assigned. Now, in the case, what you just said, Oxford has the largest share of shoreline zoning, shoreline mileage, but not by much. Otisfield is a good second place. So the thought process was we would put together a committee, and the committee would consist of membership. So there would be members from Oxford, members from Otisfield, members from Poland, and members from Casco. And they would hold the authority to basically decide how the projects are managed, how the budgets are put together, and how the overall dam is managed. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily had a question. I understand the concept. It sounds like a good concept. Getting all 4 towns on board to work in the same direction with a volunteer committee may be a little harder than we think it's gonna be.
But it might be. So let me just say to that end, I've spoken with Tony Ward from Casco, and I've spoken with Lisa Albee from Poland, and their response is, we are more than happy to entertain reestablishing the Thompson Lake Dam Committee. But in order for us to sign up to contribute our fair share of the costs, we have to have a say in how the money is spent. So if Oxford isn't willing to agree to that, then for me, it's a non-starter. That's why I'm here first.
Well, I think your idea is a good idea, but we gotta ask the taxpayers if they want, you know, if we come up with this budget, we still have to get that approved through town meeting.
Right.
And I mean, I think your proposal's good, but we can't always predict how that's gonna come out.
Sure. So for example, let's say that we established this committee and they got together and said, hey, in 2027, if we want to do that bulging wall, if we want to have a dam inspection, work with the DPW guys to find out how much time and energy is spent and put a number around that. And then also say, what's the maintenance cost? And I think maintenance comes at you guys unexpectedly. So you have to say, we'll estimate that. Let's say that's $400,000. I'm just rounding it up. Each town, if they were equally responsible, would have to go to their town meetings and say, you need to contribute 100, you need to contribute 100, you need to, and if that was approved, that money then comes to Oxford. Oxford manages it, they manage the payments, but the town, the committee, is the committee that decides how that money is spent.
Okay, what do you do if two of the towns decide they don't wanna give you any money?
So the concept is that if they agree to have membership on the committee, then they have to agree to provide financial responsibility to support the dam. And you know where I'm coming from with this.
I like your idea.
It
but,
just
you know,
seems unfair.
If they got to support it, it's sometimes not as easy.
Right. So I mean, if they agreed to participate in the committee, they would know that, hey, along with that comes the fact that you have to provide financial support to upkeep the dam.
Hal Ferguson,
Go ahead.
I'm the chair of Select Board in Huddersfield. That in concept is good, but it would take a vote of the townspeople to approve, let's say $100,000 or whatever. And the big key here is before, nomenclature on this was the Thompson Lake Advisory Dam Committee. The key here would be is that the dam committee would have to say so of what's done. They would go back and talk to their towns at the town meeting and based upon the appropriation, how much they would need for each one of them. If any town opted out, that's probably it. I mean, that's a day because the other towns aren't gonna pick up the slack. But at least Jim's talked to the other towns, and I'm speaking for Huddersfield. We're willing to take a seat at the table and talk to the townspeople and see where it goes. Michael Chambers came and talked to us in 2010. He was a town manager back then. And he was trying to drum up funds for everybody from all the towns. And since 2010, Huddersfield has given $5,000 to you folks each and every year. We're all in this together. We need to support the dam and the lake. And Huddersfield residents are very well aware. Before this last reevaluation, 17.5% of the town revenues for property came from the Huddersfield, the Thompson Lake lakefront properties. You're talking about 17% from about 1/8% of the total property in Huddersfield. I'm sure it's like that in all the
I'm
towns.
sure it is.
So everybody's well aware of what that lake is worth as far as revenue goes. And if it were to go out, it would be catastrophic. I'm not sure the state could make any rebuild it with the amount of lawsuits that would be out there from lakefront owners, and that would ripple on down because if their value gets cut in half, somebody's gonna have to pick up the slack to manage the town. And so it's gonna ripple on back to those that are further away from it, so.
That's why it has to evolve from a verbal agreement to a signed agreement. The towns have to sign up and say, we're on board with this. We will participate in this process. That's what they do up in Belgrade. Originally, it started as a verbal agreement. Now there's 5 towns, they signed on, and every year the dam committee develops the budget. I think Belgrade manages it because they're like Oxford, the biggest town, but the dam.
Do you have a copy of that contract?
Say it again?
Do you have
I do.
We have about.
okay, I guess that.
I sent it to Phil. Phil has, I think Scott has it too. I'm more than happy to send it to you guys again so you can see it. I modeled the agreement that I presented to Phil after that agreement, but I I sort of toned it down a little bit because I made it a verbal agreement at first because we need to understand the cost and don't yet have a good handle on the cost.
I like the concept, I don't know.
Just gotta figure out who's gonna start the ball rolling. Again, it's not just, how are these members gonna be assigned to this committee?
So,
Is each town gonna assign?
Yes.
Is each select board gonna pick the members to go
so
on?
if you give me the approval to start that ball rolling today, I will go to Adam and talk to him about how to assign membership from the town of Oxford. I think one of the things we have to do first is decide, how many members from each town. My own mindset was 2 from Oxford, 2 from Otisfield, 2 from Poland, 1 from Casco. That's 7 members. And the agreement stipulates that we need to have a dam custodian, someone who understands how the dam works on a day-to-day basis. I have a name in mind, but I'm sure you guys do too. And so that probably would be a 3rd member from Oxford, but that member serves the purpose of having intimate knowledge of the day-to-day workings of the dam. And that's crucial to help the committee move forward and be successful. But if you give me that permission, I'll start the ball rolling with Adam. I'll then approach the towns of Poland. I'll approach the towns of Casket. I'm gonna have to go do this in front of their select board. But again, I was gonna do that. It's a non-starter unless you guys are on board.
Questions, comments?
No?
What do if you have the towns you think will sign on to this?
Again, I spoke with Tony Ward and I spoke with Lisa Albee. Both of them expressed the sentiment that they would be interested in it. They had participated in the past, and that I would need to come to them and explain the process. So, I'm more than 50% sure that they would participate in the process. There'll probably be some wrangling over who has what number of members. I like the number 7 because you don't end up with a tie.
It has to be a no. That would be my sticking point, would be number of members. 3, 2, 1, 1 would be a little bit more, where Oxford is the most shoreline mile, which is originally when Jim and I talked, was kind of, the Belgrade proposal was presented that way, where the town with the majority shoreline would have kind of the majority vote in the committee. And I like that, I did like that.
That's a showstopper for Otisfield.
How so? How?
We've been down this road before, up here, like I said, with the advisory committee. I was a plank holder of it, so with Jim. And the advice was ignored, okay? It was controlled by Oxford. They decided just exactly what they wanted to do. Didn't matter what Myron Petrosky said or anybody else, the engineer. They decided they were gonna replace the east gate. That was not the concept. So they inherited and did it. Otisfield is gonna have an equal vote with whoever else is on their program or wherever.
So basically, I think like the town of Oxford would have to look at the transition of the dam. So each town would sign up for this and they would have to contribute to the dam each year. Would be a vote of the people for the maintenance, and then they would have an equal vote. And then they could have a committee member manage the dam with that. But each town would have ownership in that dam. So they would have to commit so much money per year to the maintenance, and then have future, say in voting for replacement of the dam or, needed maintenance. I think that's the big thing is yes, the town of Oxford would manage the money, but the towns would all have an equal vote in what gets done. And then that money would then go from each town after each town meeting to be funded to the town of Oxford to then do that maintenance.
So right now, town of Oxford mileage is 33.5% of the total shoreline. Town of Otisfield is 31. Town of Poland is 25.5. The town of Casco is 10. That was why I came up with 2, 2, 2, and 1. I hear Hal and I share his frustration. I'm willing to start out with maybe more Oxford representation. I think whoever joins this committee is not joining it for a political purpose. They're joining the committee so that they can do what's right for the lake and the dam. So I would be less concerned about number of votes and more concerned about the type of people that we put on the committee.
I would never have a problem with everybody having 2 votes. Everybody is in this together. An odd number is fine, but I don't want one town to have overriding capabilities over the other towns. That's what you're doing if you give one town more votes.
So
All they have to do is get one other town to join them. It doesn't matter what they're doing, so 2 towns say they're overridden.
So my question to you would be, if each town has equal representation, is each town gonna put in an equal amount of money?
No, they'll put it in based upon
It's
shoreline property.
based on exactly what I just told you.
So do you don't see any problem with that concept?
No. If I'm Poland, I don't. And if I'm Casco, I
So
don't either.
Poland gets an equal share, but they only pay a much smaller portion than the other 3
Well,
towns.
Poland is 25, Casco is the smallest, that's why I
Casco.
suggested they get 1. But again, we're getting into the weeds here with the number of members, maybe that's something
That's where
that
you
we
can
could-
snag it up.
we could work through in terms of, I think I agree with Phil, it has to be an odd number so that you can make decisions, but there's probably a good way to decide that, and I hear what Hal is saying, he just reacts to, I don't wanna be overridden by a bad decision because Oxford says, hey, it's our ball and we're going home. And I don't see that happening because whoever comes to this table from Oxford, in my mind, is gonna be someone who's here because they love the lake, they wanna see the dam managed well and maintained well, and that's how it moves forward.
And I don't have a long memory. I still remember what happened before, okay? And it left not only a bad taste in my mouth, but a bad taste in Otisville residents. Because we made a rep for, back at that time, the presentation was that each one of the towns would collectively own the dam, and that was shot down, which I understand. Oxford wanted to keep control of it. But as far as I'm concerned, we kind of got bullied by the town manager back then, who was the chair of the committee. And he basically did whatever he wanted to do, and whatever the dam committee said was not really important. He was paying lip service to what was done, and so he controlled it. I think that 2 members from each town would be good, and they select their own chair.
Can we do that without having a town meeting approval? I'm just asking.
I think you folks can appoint somebody to a committee. You
Oh,
don't-
no,
you
I
know,
get that, but the idea of giving up control of the dam.
I think that would require, if you're gonna try and sell or relinquish control, I think that would require a town meeting decision, yes. I also think that there are some other legal questions that come to mind about, this that I would probably wanna talk to the town's attorney about, but that's just me.
I don't think I'm prepared to vote on it tonight, but I think it is something we should talk about.
So with this, like I think Jim and the town of Otisville, because I'm another selectman over in Otisville, would be asking is that you guys would entertain it. Yes, you would have to go to town meeting to then relinquish ownership of the Oxford Dam, Thompson Lake Dam, to the other committee towns that are gonna join, which I would see all of them would. Like Otisfield has a good working relationship with Casco, with Pleasant Lake. I think 7 years ago, we replaced that dam brand new, and we had an agreement, we paid for it mutually together. And I think it's something that would be in the best interest of the town's people for Oxford, because how about when that time comes that you guys have to replace that dam, and you're looking at $3 million or more to replace that dam? Like, is the town's people gonna wanna, have to stomach that whole bill versus let's join a committee, let's just get all the numbers together, and then you guys can then decide to put it on your warrant for this coming year's town meeting. And then the other towns would do so too, to see if everyone would be on board. So this would just be, would you guys entertain putting this on your warrant, not that you're gonna relinquish the ownership of the dam tonight to a committee.
I think we put money for the dam on the warrant every year in Oxford.
But all I'm saying is like, does the town of Oxford, the taxpayers of the town of Oxford wanna stomach the entire, replacement of that dam when the time comes versus having it split in 4 different ways?
I think that my answer to your question would be, do you have to have the taxpayers or the town vote on this? The time to do that is when we put together the budget information, and the committee members go in front of your town meeting at budget time and say, here's Oxford's cost. It's now a shared cost, and that's when that concept, the shared cost concept gets approved.
No, I get what you're saying and everything else, but I just asked him if we could legitimately give up control of it without taking it before the people could.
Well, I don't think we're asking tonight for you to give up control of it. I think we're just asking for you to allow us to get budget numbers from your town manager and then go to other towns and see their interests and then come back to you before, of course, budget season and then town meeting. Because this would be a probably 3-year process to get this all done because you guys would have to vote.
So you want permission to set it up,
Correct.
set up a committee and get
Correct.
started.
Correct, which you guys have full authority to do. There's no legal change of ownership of that dam.
What's that?
I said, I think we ought to do a workshop on this, because 2 of you haven't even seen the agreement.
That's
So,
correct.
I think it would be good to get you guys up to speed on what Jim has sent for us for an agreement, and then we can get back to them and let them know.
So was that motion to table it?
Well,
I think we're anything to vote on.
Yeah.
I think, again, I'll speak for myself, I'm certainly interested in the concept. Love to share the
Thank you.
costs. The weeds, again, we get talking about, well, all 4 towns have an equal say in what happens, but all 4 towns aren't putting in equal money, right? So,
But
3 of them
they are
are,
proportional to the size of the town.
what's that?
I say they are proportional to the size of the
Right,
town.
the money Poland.
I understand that, but I don't have a problem with the money being proportionate to the size of each town. But again, you're giving, one town is much smaller than the other 3, and you're giving them an equal say, an equal share in the decision-making when they're putting in not even half the amount of money that the other 3 towns are individually.
So then would you want to see it that Oxford has more, like it goes Oxford, Otisfield, Poland, Casco?
There's not that big of a difference between Oxford and Louisville. I'll agree to that, 2.5 miles. We have a little bit more. How you're gonna break down a little bit more say, I don't know if that's possible.
Exactly.
Equal share between Otisfield and Oxford is it's easy for me to swallow.
And again, my esteemed colleague, I understand his sour taste, but my sense is these people that were put on the committee are people who are invested in making sure
They have to be.
that dam stays functional. I've been here for 30 years. I want my kids and my grandkids to be here for another 30 years and enjoy this lake. So that's the mindset of the people we would want on the committee. It's not a political decision, it's a quality decision.
Let me make a quick comment. One number that has not been brought up is this dam is fast approaching 180 years old. And there's nothing that is infinite in infrastructure, and this dam is not gonna last forever. And it's really something that the Oxford residents to shoulder 100% of the cost when they only have 33% of the shoreline is putting an undue burden on your citizens of Oxford. I'm sure the Lucia would like to see the cost shared with the other towns. And perhaps in a workshop, you could work out something with Jim Hughes, how that balance between the towns, because Casco is probably not gonna want to cough up 25%. So this should be something that can be reviewed in a workshop and work out, something that is really ideal for all parties involved. Fine with that.
Most, last comment.
Well, she should speak too, because she's on the lake and I've got some many officers. But I want to say, did you people come to the meeting? How many years ago did you hate it because Butch was on the committee or was the manager? What you're saying is absolutely true. They are ferocious about every port that they have on the lake. And that, when someone told them that they were going to pay $100,000 then, so it must be more now, that was the end of that meeting. And it's, not one person showed up. The result of that whole thing was, if we were gonna be there was gonna be a committee, then the townspeople had a right. Every one of those towns had between 15 and 20 people sitting in that gymnasium. Well, it wasn't a gym, it was in the cafeteria. But it didn't, everything you've said tonight was said then. Everything that you've said was said then. And it's a lake. And there's nobody that fights harder for 1 inch on a lake than the person that owns the inch. And they're not gonna pay taxes for the town of Oxford to somehow profit from this dam, which we never did, never have, never will. And
But don't you remember that night that they basically, the town of Oxford said that they want full control of the dam?
yes, I do remember.
So then that would then make the other towns, like, let's say that our number, just like Jim said, let's say Oxford and Otisfield we would contribute $150,000 to the dam. But Oxford has full control in doing what they want. Now, do you think the town of Otisfield's tax people would want to pay for that?
There is no debate when something has to be done to the dam. The engineers, we might fight with them and get a couple hundred off, but that's it. It's a decision that's not made by this board, what has to be done. When the thing caves in, it's gone, and
Right,
we have to replace it.
We're gonna wrap this up, because clearly we need to do
A workshop.
a workshop. We will certainly, Adam will keep you informed
Okay.
on where we're at. We may ask you to come to a workshop.
I have one other quick question, real quick. Adam has said multiple times that he would like to have the dam inspected, and I think that's an absolute necessity. I've interviewed a number of engineering firms that were recommended to be by MEMA. They do dam inspections across the state. Given that information, Adam, I'd like permission to continue to work with Adam to talk about how we possibly could execute an inspection sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I received your recommendation, I responded to your email, which I
Yep.
appreciate. So, I'm looking at those. I am probably, I also spoke to Jim Pellerin. He's, given me some information too, so I'm kind of getting everything together and this is not something that I think that we should sit on.
Feel
for very
free
long.
to involve me in that process. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank all you guys for coming in tonight.
Moving on, 5.4, fee discussion, shoreline zoning tree removal request application, continued from last meeting.
Shane was hoping to speak to this. You had some information for the board?
Yeah, so the follow-up, from last meeting, you asked about the number of permits are issued. Year to date, starting in January, I've issued 19 permits. Out of 18 of those totaled, 52 trees. The most recent, was probably closer to 30, maybe even 40 trees. I walked the property with the homeowner and we assessed every individual tree that he wanted cut and we marked them for removal, while ensuring that we maintained compliance with the shoreline zoning ordinance. for reference, as far as what neighboring towns charge for the same permit, Casco charges $25. Otisfield, Norring, Poland all charge $50, and Naples charges $75. I actually tried reaching out to all of them recently, and they're busy and we're away, so I wanted to find out the reason behind what their logic is for tacking a fee onto the tree removal permit. My guess is, being a code enforcement officer, you know, it's my job to ensure that shoreline zoning ordinances and standards are followed to a T. When I'm out there assessing these trees for removal, I'm acting on behalf of the town while enforcing state statute and our ordinances that are derived from state statute. And we don't have any reimbursement from the state doing that. And at a minimum, probably each time I get called out, I've got at least 2 hours between, you know, going out there, walking the property, assessing the trees, coming back, reviewing the shoreline zoning ordinance, and then delivering my final response, whether it's approval or denial. You know, it's time consuming. So.
What was the numbers again? The number, is this a fee per tree or per permit?
Per permit.
So 19. I think you said 19.
So, yes. So from October, there was an issue with the filing system between October 20th when I started and January 1st. There was several permits issued at that point. I would have had to have gone back and gone through every single property file to find out which ones. So January 1st, I created a new system that worked for me for tracking. So since January 1st, it was a total of 19 for 18 of those involved 52 separate trees. And each one of them has to be assessed individually based on its own set of inherent circumstances. And then a latest one I did out on Bolster Lane, it was between 20 to 30 trees.
Thoughts from the board?
I can make an argument both ways here. The town supply, you know, we have a code enforcement officer, so the town, that's our budget line item. We pay him, and that's his job. The other side of that is, and with experience in what he's doing, is a lot of this, it's not, you know, I need a plumbing permit, I need an electric permit, I wonder if I can cut these trees down. I'll call code enforcement, bring him out to consult with me with whether or not I can take these trees down. So I feel like this is a little different than just a run-of-the-mill permit that you would get. This is like, well, we're gonna use, like, he's gonna come out and assess this with us. So for me, that's like a specialty thing. So I could see a small fee, maybe on the $25 side for you know, permit, shoreline zoning tree removal permit for that reason. But I also could be convinced the other way that the taxpayers, especially the taxpayers in the shoreline zoning, already pay enough in taxes. And so I guess it's a tough one.
If I were to die on this hill, I would also argue that if I fail to enforce the ordinances to a T, myself and the town will ultimately be on the hook when state DEP comes knocking at the door and want to audit my files.
That is a hill you will die on if you fail to do what you're hired to do.
No, you won't die.
You're getting paid whether we charge. a
I
fee or
am.
not.
We're
We're not getting extra money if we charge
No.
a fee to the people that need it. I'm not one that wants to charge somebody a fee for every little thing that we have to do in this if we got to a point where our one code enforcement officer can't do all the work, and we're looking at having to hire somebody else or have additional hours to pay to go out and inspect trees that people wanna cut, I think we have a different argument then. But for now, I think you don't seem to not be able to get your work done, and you're fairly new at this. I expect you, if you can't get your work done because the workload is too big, you're gonna let Adam know, he's gonna let us know, we'll figure it out. I can't support a fee for every tree. I could split the difference. You know, if you've got 10 trees or 20 trees and you're really a time consuming thing, then maybe you put a fee on that at some point, but for every tree, I mean, if you got a nuisance tree.
And again, it's not for every tree, it's for every application. Some applications are for one tree, some are for multiple trees. And
The same token, if you start charging a fee to get somebody to come out and inspect, to cut a tree down, they may just cut it down and not call you at all. And we don't want that. So that's my take.
As I said the last time when we brought this up, those 2.5 hours that's gonna take you, you're gonna do that whether they paid $20 for that permit or not. So again, I've lived on the lake, I don't any longer but shoreline property pay their fair share, and I don't think that $20 for a tree removal is something that we currently do.
We're talking less than $500 so far this year. If you were charged a fee for every one of those 19, it's not even $500. Not that every dollar doesn't count, but it's just not.
You want a motion on this?
I don't know that we need a motion unless we're gonna go forward to having a fee. Nothing's gonna change.
No, I'm not looking to charge anymore.
Correct.
If nothing's gonna change, then
I thank you for your work and your diligence for looking out for the taxpayers as a whole, but keep up the good work. We can jump into 5.5 marijuana license update, business license cap, November referendum.
Alright. So, the Board of Selectmen discussed the idea of putting on a cap for the number of marijuana businesses. So I have worked with the town attorney on this. What you've got here is a draft warrant. You have a draft town or a special town meeting warrant, referendum town meeting warrant, because the thought process is that this would be voted on voting day, election day, November. But we still have to do, obviously. There's also a copy of the proposed changes. The first piece that you'll look at in here is the language creating the cap language on how many businesses there's gonna be and the procedure and so forth that's gonna be followed in order to, cycle those through when things are due. Then there's also some new language at the end of it about transfer of cannabis facilities, the locations and all of that kind of stuff. So I have one of these for each of the board members. So what I would ask that you would do is that you would look at these and please provide me feedback, because we do have a fairly short period of time, i.e. the next meeting. At the next meeting, we need to make the decision and sign this warrant if we're going to do this, so that then ballots can be ordered and the ball can be rolling. So, as I said, I think if the selectmen want to do this, at the 8:20 selectmen's meeting would be the time to approve this and sign the warrant. Then the town clerk and I would get the ballots and themselves done and ordered. And we would end up having to have a public hearing on this matter as well. I propose probably October 1st. That's well ahead of schedule, but allows for feedback. And then it would be voted on in November. The one piece that I think we need to talk about is the number that's in there for a cap is 17. At the time, we had, at one time at town meeting, we had 17 different marijuana businesses in town. Not all the same, we're talking recreational, medical, growing versus retail, all of that stuff. I don't think we wanna dive in and do individual caps on each type of license. It sounds like a nightmare to me and a lot of room for error. But, you know, through attrition, we're already down to 15 businesses right now. You know, it was 17 a couple months ago, we're down to 15 active licenses due to things expiring. So we need to think about that cap. I think it would be wise, I mean, you have one, you're gonna be seeing a new one at the next selectmen's meeting. So, that we know is coming down the pike, so that would bring us back up to 16. So, maybe we would consider leaving 17 as the cap, or 18 as the cap. If you're looking, that gives us some buffer between now and the November election, and so forth. So, just some thoughts, if you guys want a list of the ones that are currently active, I also brought that if you wanna take one and write it down too. So,
At this number, you're talking whether it's a, medical, recreational, grow, something facility.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, trying to, forgive the expression, keep it simple, stupid for myself at least, you know? Because it's easier to manage if we do it that way.
And is it possible to go with a lower number, but grandfather in what we have?
You're gonna have to grandfather anybody that already has an existing license. You have to.
You don't have to yell at me. Yeah, I mean, that's an option too. I mean, if you're here doing business, obviously we're not gonna pick from a hat who has to go out of town. But you could set it at a lower number if we desire.
You could.
Yeah.
I mean, these are just my recommendations. So, yeah, if you folks can, take a look at that. And again, the language for the warrant itself is actually very generic, because it's, just, you know, basically, you know, shall an ordinance entitled amendments to the cannabis facility ordinance, you know, be passed. So, and we'll provide copies of that stuff at both on the website, to the public, and public hearings and so forth. So I'll be prepared to bring this back to you guys on the 20th, if you're good with that. Do you have any feedback on like at the cap, or just?
Can you make sure both of these are emailed to Selectmen Fitz?
Oh, yes, I can do that.
Questions, comments?
Town attorney was okay with this?
He helped me draft it, yeah.
Anybody else? Homework.
You'll be great.
5-6 sewer connection discussion.
So recently we had some conversations about, trying to get more people hooked onto the sewer, not to put you on the spot, Phil, but you kind of were the driving force behind this, so I'll talk about it.
Yeah, well, I think one of the things we did was we had an ordinance that's what came up. We had an ordinance that we weren't following. Is how this all came up. In our ordinance, the town should be charging a standby fee for the sewer line if it went by your property. If you're abutting property owner to the sewer line. We've since changed that ordinance, correct me if I'm wrong. So now, as a board, we need to set a standby fee. Before it said we shall charge a standby fee. It even set the amount per what the standard rate was. Now we have to set a fee. Am I right? Did I say that, explain that right?
Yeah, you can set a fee from 0 up to half of the standard or the base rate.
To follow our own ordinance. Similar to our, a fee for a tree permit. It's not that we want to, or I want to, or the town wants to nickel and dime the residents of the town of Oxford. The case that can be made for a set of putting a standby fee is that when the town sewer went by your property, if you own property that abuts it, your property value went up. It's a fact. Be happy to, discuss that with anybody, but that's a fact. Town sewer goes by your property, the price goes, the value goes up. So I assume that's why there's a standby fee, because you have access to the town sewer to keep it there and, to maintain that access to the sewer. So if your septic system fails, or you wanna subdivide and put another property, another structure on your property, you have access to that. So you could also say, it was promised to us when we came to the town meeting and voted for the sewer line that there wouldn't be charged to people who weren't on it. We could have that argument too, because that was said. But we need to set a rate, either from 0 to, whatever Adam just said.
Half the base rate.
So the original ordinance and part of the deal for getting the grant money was that language had to be in there.
That is
I
correct.
wasn't on board with
That is correct.
that. And it's something that was never done and enforced all the way up to today still. I'll stand by I don't wanna charge certain people a fee when this wastewater treatment facility, believe it or not, costs money, but it benefits the whole town. Because if you don't have that, you don't have a casino that generates millions of dollars a year. You don't have a hotel across the street that generates thousands of dollars in property taxes. There's money coming in. The TIF, correct me if I'm wrong, pays for the sewer.
The TIF pays for the sewer debt service, yes.
Right. So we're not asking every taxpayer to contribute every year towards that, because the TIF covers that.
The debt service.
Correct.
Okay. What's the operational cost?
About 450,000 for those last.
You're never gonna catch up, but
Furthermore,
I get what you're
just to be
saying.
argumentative, because I am argumentative, the casino was in there before we had a wastewater treatment facility. The casino would be there, they had their own septic system. I don't know if they're still using the septic system, but they have a septic system to open it. The hotels came along once we had a wastewater treatment facility. I'm not strong one way or the other, those are facts, that's a fact that happened, that the casino was there before they had their own septic. Does it benefit the town as a whole? Sure. Does it benefit the people who goes by a little bit more? Sure. Does the town of Oxford want to have a little more say in the dam because they're paying a little bit more into it? Yes. It's argumentative, that's all it is.
And I agree, the sewer goes by your property, it increases your property value. What happens when your property value increases?
You pay more taxes.
Pay more in taxes. So, the only way I can get on board with charging a fee is if we absolutely have to charge a fee. And if we have to charge a fee to get in line with what should have been done 14 years ago, that's where I would be. And it would be absolutely minimal fee, not half. Anybody else?
I was on the board at the time, and we did tell all taxpayers that we would not do it. Because we had it figured out that it was gonna come out of the TIF money. And we also had some other things figured out with that, we were promised that it would go different than it went. Maybe our advice that we get from our engineer at the time was not as good as it should have been.
Does the TIF cover any of the operational costs?
No, that's raised and appropriated at town meeting. So you do have your sewer rates.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
offsetting some of that cost. We have also used TIF money to help with, some of the sewer, expansion and, that kind of stuff.
There's certainly certain things you can do. Beat it to death, anybody else wanna talk about it unless somebody.
Is this the time to talk about revisiting the grant? We need more subscribers, guys. Like, at the end of the day, we need more people flushing their toilet into that line so that it can be sustainable. So people who don't have any access to it, who are not using it, aren't, footing the bill for it. So how do we do that? Can we get creative with that? Can we open up that grant program again? How do we get it so it's self-sustaining?
How, that, I haven't heard an update on that program with the money. Does that work out all right, what we got so far? How many people paying and?
I mean, it's been a couple of years, but I mean, we did that grant program right when we first moved into this building, when we started that, like getting people hooked up.
Yeah.
We did it for a solid year. I am trying to remember, I think we, what was it, like 19 or 20 more, you know, people we got on, you know, subscribers, if you will, onto it through that. I will say that it was great, to get those people, but it's certainly, the novelty of it, you know, wore off by the end of the year, and it started becoming pretty standard for the contractors and stuff that were, you know, getting involved, just, you know, on how that works. So I think it was time for it to end, you know, I think when we got there. We could look at doing it again.
What do you mean I guess I don't follow that. You get standard with the contractors, what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is we had great contractors doing great work for people, but the quotes all started looking awful similar. So, you know, but it was good work. So, it was great to get those number of people on, but I mean, I was surprised. I thought we did a lot more than just 20. I mean, you know, to get, that we're gonna be interested in getting hooked up to sewer and so forth, but I think we exhausted the interest by the time we got to the end of it.
Well, you got a new plan.
Do you suspect if there was gonna be potentially, say in 3 years, there was gonna be a standby fee, that the grant would be a little bit more attractive? So if we said, as a board, we're looking at charging a standby fee, we're looking 3 years out at maybe implementing a very minimal standby fee, do you think that would pique the interest for people to get the grant to get worked on?
Yeah. So when we came up with this idea, when I say we collectively, the board and the manager discussed the idea of doing this grant. That was one of the things that we said that we were going to probably do, is when the grant program was done, we were going to charge the standby fee. That gave people a full year to either take advantage of this, you know, hookup, or be prepared for the standby fee. So 19, 20 folks decided they wanted to take advantage of that. Nobody else did.
And
So,
why were you considering a standby fee then?
because at the time, before this last June town meeting, the ordinance said we had to charge a standby fee. Now we have the option of it shall not exceed, if you will, so it could be 0 up to that amount. So your standby fee could be 0.
I'm not opposed to starting the grant without no
Oh,
interest.
my point was, we didn't lose any money on that, right? I mean, that what we got our money back, we could.
Well, these weren't loans, they were grants. I mean, they were grants. So we did do some sewer loans way back when, you know, that was way back when you guys had done some sewer loans, but these grants that we did, you know, we didn't get money back from that. We just got people hooked up. So now we're receiving quarterly, you know, charges from these people.
I certainly could get on board a
Low
low
program
interest
again.
loan program and get that started again. And even having some forgiveness, if you pay your loan, you know, you pay half of it, maybe the other half is forgiven, or 2/3 of it and 1/3 of it's forgiven, something like that. You gotta fund it, you gotta appropriate the money to do it, so that's gotta come from somewhere. But I would support that.
I mean, because I think when we did that, we did it at no interest, correct?
When you originally did it, you did no interest loans, yes.
So does somebody want to make a motion to set the amount that we're in charge of standby fee?
I'm not going to.
Neither am I.
Did you hear what Adam said? Just make a motion and set the standby fee at 0. We have to set a standby, like, that's the ordinance, we have to have a standby fee. I'm sorry, but that, maybe I'm way oversimplifying this.
I wouldn't consider 0 a standby fee, but if you wanna call a standby fee $0, then
I was
I'd
thinking
make that motion.
Am I wrong? Adam, please help me here, like, isn't that what this is about, to follow the ordinance?
Right. The standby fee now shall not exceed the minimum base rate, you know, so on. So I mean, you can set it at whatever you want to set it at. Okay? So if you want to set it at 0, set it at 0.
Did you make a motion?
So
I seconded it.
discussion. All those in favor? Vote. If you could get back to us on if we have some funds available to fund a loan program. I don't know if anybody's interested, but I'd certainly like to hear. You gotta have the money first. So if you don't have the money to do it, then you're not going to do it.
I'll bring that up for future discussion. Thoughts?
Department head, I think that's Chief Jack.
Yeah, I just want to update you on the panhandler situation in front of Walmart. Past couple of weeks, we've gotten a couple of fight calls there. Officers get there, they're not physically fighting, but they've been flailing their arms, yelling at each other, basically having a turf war, trying to claim that island between numerous different panhandlers.
Who won, the violin or the other one?
Well, in the long run, we kicked them out of there due to that activity. Which
Good idea.
I could legally do that. So I called DOT again, and I asked them if they could at least put signs up, no pedestrians on the island. The supervisor said the way DOT works, which we all know, he had to contact his supervisor, so he did, and he did call me back quite timely. He told me that they won't put signs up because it'll take away from the vision of that intersection. So they refused to do that. They conferred with their attorneys. The attorney said that it's a freedom of speech and they won't do anything to keep those people off the island or give me the authority to do so. And I think our town attorney at one point was contacted and basically said it is a freedom of speech thing. So my hands dealing with them has been pretty tied. DOT won't do anything to help me out with keeping them off that island, so. Unless they commit a crime where we can make an arrest and then give them bail conditions. We did contact the district attorney who said if that happened, they would give conditions not to return to the island, but we gotta have a reason to arrest them first.
Could we do beautification and put rose bushes in?
Well, the state owns it,
Not
that's,
ours.
Yeah, the DOT owns
Put
it.
some rugosa rose there, ain't nobody hanging out.
I want to see him when he comes and tells us he's there.
How is it the sign obstructs your vision, but a person standing there doesn't just as much?
I fully agree with you.
They're just, they don't want to be the one that gets sued.
No, they don't.
So, we'll continue on if they.
Could I ask a
Disorderly,
question?
then they can go to jail for disorderly.
Could I ask a question? Could you pass an ordinance in the town against panhandling? Some places have done that.
Yeah, we had that discussion here, and the town's attorney basically advised against that because of freedom of speech.
Well, it's not really a freedom of speech issue per se, because they're out there making a nuisance of themselves, they're obstructing traffic and they're distracting drivers.
I agree, but the attorneys would say otherwise.
I know, we live in Maine, I realize that.
but once they obstruct traffic, if they legitimately obstruct traffic or in a public way, then the police can do something.
For obstructing the public way, we have to first warn them before we can act on it. Which we have done that, but that warning goes for the day. The next day an event happens, we have to re-warn them.
What about the signs?
The signs that they're holding.
How big they are?
Yep, I agree.
That's.
That obstructs the view too, just like
Just
a little 8x10 sign. But I agree.
You can't get up for that.
Ricky said it best, if we don't want them there, they're there because it's working.
Don't give them money.
If we're not putting money in the bin, they're not gonna be there, they're gonna go someplace.
I will say, just on my observation, when I was standing on the island with one of the panhandlers dealing with that situation, I happened to look in the open pocket and it was stacked full of cash. People are giving their money. I'm actually blown away how many people are giving their money there.
They do it for a living.
Obviously.
It's like a job, they do shifts.
Anything else, chief?
I was just gonna ask what the ordinance like you did, so.
That's pretty much it.
Questions, comments, board? Nothing. Town manager updates.
All right, so just a couple of quick things. So at the next meeting, at the 8:20 meeting, planning on bringing forward to the Board of Selectmen a list of folks to be considered for appointment to the comp plan committee. Right now, we have 4 applications. If there's anybody else out there that you know of, please send them to the town clerk to fill out an application. Let's see, the assistant town clerk position is still posted until Friday the 14th is when that closes. The road construction, East Oxford box culvert it's installed, obviously not paved over, but it's installed, that's done, which is wonderful. The contractor is finishing getting the other cross culverts done here, there, and everywhere. I have been receiving some complaints about, the transition from where the culvert went into the pavement that's already there, being too rough, and then and so on. Long story short, between Jim and the police chief and the engineer that we're working with and myself, we've gone out, we've looked and communicated with cross excavation, and they've made corrections and making it better so it's an easier transition. So the contractor has been very responsive when we have let them know that there's a problem. Let's see, so Jim and I actually did the drive through all of those today. Paving bids should be coming out by the end of the month. When I spoke to the engineer, he's working on those right now, so within the next couple of weeks, you should see those coming out. A little bit more on the dam. I had a meeting with IF&W earlier this week to talk about the fish screen for the center gate. They don't have any money that they have to put on the table right now to help us replace said fish screen. So I think the direction that we're gonna end up going with that is that we have a design from the contractor we were working with. Inland Fisheries feels like that it could be problematic like it was before. So if we do move forward with trying to find an engineer to work with us on, the condition of the dam and those projects, maybe that is the time to revisit fish screen and leave things as they are right now and not reinstall the fish screen. I think the town needs to decide how important the fish screen is to the town, as well. I mean, that's another conversation we had. I understand Inland Fisheries doesn't have any money to put forward right now. They don't have anything to do that.
So the IF&W is not happy with the contractor's design?
IF&W feels the concern that what happened the last time could happen again.
Not this past time, not with maybe I'm wrong, the contractor was kind of going back to the old screen where it was out away from them?
No, this, the most recent design I received was on the face of the dam. So that's something that IF&W suggested, is moving maybe something more like was there many years ago with those pylons, putting something there. There's also, I'll give Jim Pellerin credit. I mean, he sent me a bunch of ideas just yesterday that came in my email. He had, self-cleaning fish screens, that kind of, yes, they're expensive, but at the same time, by being self-cleaning, they get all the material out from the bottom so that it doesn't get jammed up and doesn't freeze and all those kind of things. So I think we need more information on the overall condition of the dam before we go dumping another $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 into the fish screen. So that's just kind of the status of that. Once I have more information, I'm gonna bring that to you guys, because probably when it comes to doing a review of the condition of the dam, we're probably gonna have to put that out to bid, for an engineer to do that for us. So, otherwise than that, I think actually that's all I got for you tonight, so.
Selectmen items.
I see you forwarded us the email from DOT about the traffic light. Where are we about the traffic light?
For East Oxford?
Yes.
Yep. So they're planning on installing said traffic light. We brought that up for a quick discussion the other day, but we're gonna be on the hook for the electricity, for the traffic light, and they're gonna install it. So that's
Regardless of whether we sign the contract or not.
Well, I thought from our conversation we had the other week that we all, we agreed that we were gonna misunderstood.
I thought we were in agreement that we were sending it to Paris, because they requested the light.
Right. Yeah, I think the state's gonna do what they wanna do,
I
whether
think the
they
state's
sign it
gonna
or not. I don't have any interest in signing it. We weren't really consulted whether we wanted the light there or not.
Okay.
Right, I mean, they said, and I don't even know if Paris wants the light. I think Paris could fix their problem by putting no through traffic on Oxford Street. Retarding everybody, but maybe they can't do that, right? Then that traffic light is gonna cause more headaches in Oxford than it's worth.
Why do you suppose the state wants a traffic light there?
I mean, they say because of traffic study and accidents and so forth.
You know how many accidents we've had there at that intersection, chief, in a year?
Top of my head, quite a few, and all that data that we fill into the crash reports, that's what the state looks at, and then makes the determinations from there for whatever they recommend.
Handful.
Oh, yeah, a heavy handful.
Several handfuls.
How many happened in front of the Walmart light
Handful.
and the Hanford light?
A handful.
So
I think
whether it's light or not.
I think if you compare bodily injury,
Oh,
it's probably a
they're going
higher.
fast.
For that, Phil, yes, you're absolutely
I've
right.
seen,
They're going fast.
and they're helping on that.
Yeah.
And they're helping clean it up. I would sign it, I'm for it. I think that's a really tough intersection right there. I think it's people, it's their own fault. I'm not saying that they just gun it. They're like, I gotta get out of here. I've been sitting here for 60 seconds to 120 seconds and they go.
Adam, if I may from the meetings, my understanding was though, they was gonna widen and change the dynamics of that whole intersection. So I think it'll have a different look from what I understood from those meetings.
Yes, it's not gonna be the same.
Right.
Right, it's gonna be turning lanes and all that kind of stuff, I believe.
Right down here, just below the bridge. You know, when you get to the place at the top of the Smith.
I don't know if we need to sign it or not. I don't, you can't make us sign it, but I think they're gonna do what they wanna do.
I agree.
So. Any other selectmen items? Seeing none. Time warrants.
Meeting time in like 6 months. That's the longest meeting we've had in 6 months.
Are you done?
Yeah, good night.
Yes, sir.
I know that.
Guys, these are the liquor licenses.
None of them. I don't know why he thinks he's gonna do it. You know what he thinks?
I mean,
I really think put him as first contact in that. And I'm not laughing about it either. I really think.
No, they came in on their own.
Here's why I could speak because I already have.
Yeah, that's what I think it. I asked her if it's. Based on the calculation, it's not gonna happen. So that's why you need to look at it, because
Last time I saw you, you were in costume.
Exactly.
Last time I saw you, you were in costume.
Yes, that's right. We were.
You might wanna know.
We do need to introduce.
Don't tell him, please.
And I'm not saying that we did. It's really Bruce Wayne.
Chairman isn't coming.
I'm looking at the rearview mirror now, or when that pallet that,
You need to let go. Anyway, yeah.
It's a great, why should everybody have? It doesn't cost much longer.
Like Andy said, it'll cost some weeds.
It's 10 years old.
Good night, guys.
Where's the recording that? I don't want to that.
It's still recorded.
And you call out the guy.
Over by you. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm bringing it up to Alan Hill, who's a pharmacist.
Somebody's probably going to have it up there.
When I get done.
I did, because I told him I'm going, like, I'm just gonna tell her right
Yeah,
now.
because Mr. Luke said that he would even want it. Because I keep thinking about working half of that. So I think you want to go big. I'm not asking you to. If you want to.
You can work on when they get a committee, that's fine. Did you make any committee? It is, yeah.
Well, they want to.
I will get with you in a couple weeks after I have it up. All right, there we go. On that day, I started to
Hey, bring that to you when I-
Thanks.
I don't think it would have been hard to get into it.
I've already wasted enough energy on that. And you just can't see it.
Making the motion, make motion to sign warrant 6-13.
Second.
All those in favor?
Executive session.
Make motion to go into executive session, discuss distribution of property, real estate pursuant to